Hello, I'm Nathan Judah. I'm here with West Brom reporter Steve Madeley. Steve, I want to know from your end in the press box on Saturday, what exactly happened?
Well, we're aware that there was trouble before the game in one of the local pubs. So tensions were obviously high throughout, but it seemed like a good atmosphere for most of the game. I think when Scott Sinclair scored the second goal, the first pitch invasion, which was only a minor one from Villa fans, was the first we were aware that it was going to boil over. Almost immediately, we saw the pieces of chair being thrown from the upper tier of the north stand, which was obviously West Brom fans because that's where they were. We're told that there were also coins and other smaller things being thrown as well, which we couldn't see from our vantage point in the press box, but the chairs were so big that they were obvious. And then there was the second pitch invasion when Villa fans clearly thought the game was over, and it wasn't, which held the game up for a bit, which must have been quite intimidating for the players because they found themselves confronted by fans when the game wasn't finished. And then finally we saw the second pitch invasion, the second mass one at the final whistle, when several West Brom players we saw confronted by Villa fans.
There's been a lot of talk and debate since then, obviously. I understand the FA have released a statement today.
They have. The statement doesn't add a great deal to what we already knew, except to confirm that they've spoken to both the clubs. They are investigating. They've spoken to West Midlands Police and established the latest situation. Obviously, Villa are the ones who stand to be punished mainly, I would think, because they're the ones whose stewards are in charge of making sure that order is maintained, and it obviously wasn't. So they're obviously going to have to look at that. I would expect Villa to get some kind of fine somewhere down the line.
It was interesting listening to the managers afterwards. There seemed to be a difference of opinion. Tim Sherwood saying you can't help it; it's just the emotion of the day, and then Tony Pulis seemed to be pretty disgusted, to be honest. Yeah,
and I think there's merit to both arguments in that I think what Tim Sherwood was saying was probably true of the vast majority of the pitch invaders. While they shouldn't be on the pitch because it's a criminal offence, the vast majority of them didn't seem to be malicious in any way. They were just genuinely wanting to celebrate Villa reaching the FA Cup semi-final. But there obviously were a handful, which is what worried Tony Pulis, who were more aggressive, a few of them would have been drunk, I'm sure, who were confronting West Brom players physically in some cases. I mean, at least a couple of them were pushed. There were reports that some of them were actually struck by Villa fans. I'm told that West Brom have spoken to all the players and none of them have complained about actually being struck, but there was definitely some sort of physical contact. Callum McManaman we saw having to be almost dragged down the tunnel by Craig Dawson after some confrontation with a fan. Jolyon Lescott, we told, was also confronted by a fan, and there was some physical contact there. We saw Boaz Myhill have a bit of a contretemps with a fan who was trying to film him on a mobile phone, and he grabbed the mobile phone and threw it. So it just wasn't pleasant scenes. It must have been pretty scary for the Albion player.
And I think Tony Pulis has also called for a life ban to the ones found guilty from West Brom.
Exactly. I mean, Tony Pulis was across the board, whether it was Villa fans or West Brom fans. He was kind of advocating a zero tolerance approach to anyone who's found guilty of a criminal offence. And clearly, if anyone's identified on CCTV ripping up seats and throwing them, then they probably are going to face a lengthy ban, if not a life one.
And I guess from Albion's and Tony Pulis' point of view, they just want to move on because they've got a very important game on Saturday.
They have. They've got a very important few games to come because we all look at the table and we think that they're close to being safe, but they're clearly not safe yet. And you look at the last 5 games, they're very daunting fixtures-wise. So these next 5 games are going to be crucial in terms of they need to pick up a couple of wins in those 5 games just to ease any remaining pressure they've got in terms of staying up.
And you'll be able to see plenty more from me and Steve throughout the week exclusively at expressandstar.com.